We tend to speak of the Odyssey as a story about returning home. But returning is not as simple as reaching a place. Time passes, people change, life moves on. So the real question becomes, what does it take to come back and still belong there? Composed nearly 3 millennia ago and attributed to Homer, the Odyssey continues to feel relevant for this reason. The man who left. At the center is Odysseus, king of Ithaca, a figure defined less by force than by perception. After the fall of Troy, he begins the journey back to his wife, Penelope, and his son, Telemachus. He has already been gone for 10 years fighting the war. Now he faces the voyage home. What should have been a brief return stretches into another 10 years of wandering. Not only because the world resists him, but because he is not yet the man who is ready to arrive. The first error, the need to be seen. One of the earliest turning points is the encounter with the Cyclops Polyphemus, the one-eyed giant. Polyphemus traps Odysseus and his men inside a cave and begins killing and eating them. Odysseus escapes through a plan. He gives the Cyclops wine, blinds him while he sleeps, and then leads his men out by hiding them under the sheep as Polyphemus lets his flock out to graze. It is a clever escape, but as they sail away, Odysseus makes a mistake. He reveals his real name. He wants the Cyclops to know who defeated him. Polyphemus then calls upon his father, Poseidon, god of the sea, to take revenge. From that moment on, the journey becomes much harder. The seduction of forgetting. Another episode takes Odysseus to the land of the Lotus Eaters. These people offer his crew a strange fruit. Anyone who eats it forgets home and loses the desire to leave. The Lotus Eaters are not violent. They simply want the sailors to stay with them, sharing in this state of peaceful forgetfulness. Some of Odysseus's men eat the fruit and refuse to return. Odysseus forces them back onto the ship and sails away. He understands something important. If they stay, they will lose their purpose completely, choosing to remain. Then comes Circe, a powerful witch. When Odysseus's men arrive at her island, she invites them in, gives them food, and then turns them into pigs. Odysseus is warned in advance by the god Hermes, who gives him a herb that protects him from her magic. Fascinated by his mind, Circe changes from a predator to a gracious hostess. She restores his men, and Odysseus stays for a year, not as a prisoner, but because the comfort is easy. Ultimately, it is his crew who must snap him out of this golden cage. These men, once turned into animals, are the ones who regain their humanity first and remind their captain of his duty to Ithaca. A different view of life. At one point, Odysseus travels to the underworld. There, he meets the dead, including Achilles. Achilles, once the greatest of warriors, says something amazing. He would rather be alive as a poor, unknown man than rule over the dead. This moment changes the tone of the story. It shows that even the greatest glory cannot replace life itself. The noise of the ego. As the journey continues, Odysseus faces a different kind of danger, his own nature. He wants to hear the sirens, despite knowing their song leads sailors to death. They promise knowledge about the past, the present, and the future, and he cannot resist the desire to hear what no one survives to tell. Odysseus orders his men to block their ears with wax and tie him to the mast, instructing them not to release him, no matter what he says. As they pass the sirens, he listens, and immediately begs to be freed. But his men hold him in place and sail on. And this is the key point. The sirens do not truly give him knowledge. They offer praise. They sing of his past, his fame, his victories. It becomes clear, not everything that promises knowledge actually teaches you something. Sometimes it only tells you what you want to hear, when every choice has a cost. Later, Odysseus must pass between Scylla, a monster that will take some of his men, and Charybdis, a whirlpool that could destroy the entire ship. He chooses the path where he will lose a few men rather than everyone. These moments show something difficult. Sometimes there is no good outcome, only the choice of what you are willing to lose, the offer of escape. Eventually, Odysseus reaches the island of Ogygia, the home of the goddess Calypso. He remains there for 7 years, the longest single delay of his 20-year absence. Calypso falls in love with him and offers him the ultimate bribe: immortality. She promises him eternal life without aging, grief, or suffering. For 7 years, Odysseus lives in a physical paradise, yet he is a prisoner of perfection. Every day, he sits on the rocky shore, weeping as he looks across the ocean toward Ithaca. Odysseus ultimately refuses the gift of being a god. He chooses a mortal life with all its limits and its inevitable end, because it is the only life that is real. A changed home. When Odysseus finally returns to Ithaca, his home has changed. Many believe he is dead. Suitors have taken over his house, eating his food and pressuring Penelope to choose a new husband. Odysseus does not reveal himself immediately. Instead, he disguises himself as a beggar and observes what is happening. He wants to understand the situation before acting. This shows how much he has changed. He is no longer driven by the need to prove himself quickly. Penelope's way of enduring. While Odysseus travels, Penelope remains in Ithaca. But she is not simply waiting. She delays the suitors with a clever plan. She promises to choose a husband once she finishes weaving a cloth, and then secretly unravels it each night. In this way, she controls time and avoids making a decision. Her strength is different from Odysseus's, but just as important: recognition. In the end, Odysseus reveals himself and, with the help of his son Telemachus, defeats the suitors. But Penelope is cautious. She needs to be sure that this man is her husband. So she tests him. She orders a servant to move their marriage bed. Odysseus reacts immediately. He knows this is impossible. The bed was built around a living olive tree and cannot be moved. This detail proves his identity. Only then does Penelope accept him. The art of arrival. The Odyssey tells the story of a journey across distance. But the harder journey happens within the man himself. Odysseus leaves as a hero of war, a man shaped by victory, strategy, and the need for recognition. He returns more restrained, more aware of himself. Over time, he is forced to face the comfort that makes you forget your purpose, the emptiness of fame, the weight of choices that cannot be undone. These are not just obstacles. They are what change him. He learns that the cleverness that helped him win a war is not enough to live in peace. To survive, he has to let go of who he was and learn patience. By the end, the story asks a different question. It is no longer about reaching home, but about being ready for it.